Knock, knock. Wakey, wakey. Hand off snakey, as they say. What's going on, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I hope everyone is having a beautiful start, finish, or end to the day as we crack another bubbler. These things are so freaking good. Anyway, guys, we're here for another episode of Q&A. Super pumped to be in here. The questions that we've got today are really, really, really good. So if you're tuning into this one live, make sure you get down and hashtag live in the comments or say hi or let us know that you're here. And if you're watching this one on replay, please let us know. A little cheeky hashtag replay in the comments is always good. Ooh, watermelon flavor. So good. How's the week been, guys? I hope you've had a beautiful start. Lozzie, good morning. Did you get your airport steps up? Did you get your airport steps up? Question. I know it was a bit of a challenge. You didn't want to break your streak. So did you get them done? Good morning, Kenny, or rather evening, my brother. I hope you're well. Yes, I did. Okay, good stuff. I was loving that. I was waiting for it. Good stuff. Hey, guys, we've got a really good episode of the podcast, the Q&A coming up. Also, Troy, what is going on, mate? Hope you're well and having a crushing week. Whoever just said morning, because they're very nice, what I want you to do is go what should be just above here and click that little link that says something.restream so I can actually see who it is. So how's the week traveling, team? Troy, Loz, Kenny, how's the week coming on? We're making progress or what? Guys, we've been doing a bunch of coaching inside both groups, and over the last couple of weeks, oh my gosh, like there's been some real big breakthroughs. And mate, I've appreciated it. Sean, click the Restream link, mate. Just do the Restream link. Once you've done it once, you shouldn't have to do it again, mate. So yesterday, I think we had, last night, which was 8 p.m. Sydney time, we had 18 ladies on the group, which was bloody fantastic. And yep, it went for a while, so we had to cut it off at an hour, but some really, really good stuff being discussed there. Hello, honey. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to come over here and just, before we kick this off, say hi to everyone?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Do you want to show them what happened? We had your third birthday yesterday, didn't we? For number what?
1,
No, that's not number 1. That's number
3.
trap 3. There you go. It's number 3. I hope you guys are well. Yeah.
Yes.
Get out of here. Go with your auntie. All right, guys, let's get started in another episode of Q&A. We are ready to rock and roll. Let's do this. So, by the way, also just before we kickstart, wanted to let everyone know that if you're intending to come down and get amongst our Better Body Academy team for the Sydney Marathon, letting you know that the early bird, like cheap as pricing, closes out on the 31st Sydney time. Okay, so if you're wanting to get involved, there's already 12 people that are involved in the team already. And if you're wanting to join that, you should do that before the pricing goes up. All right, let's do this. So first question, and I'm going to address this question. It's a bit of a longer question, and Sean actually just sent this via the Success team, and it's a really, really great question. And I wanted to address it because I think it's super beneficial. So I've had low back pain for the last few days, unsure how I did it. Last gym session was Sunday. Why is it that when you get on a roll, something happens or roadblocks appear that prevent you from doing the stuff you like? It's frustrating. Yeah, dude. Welcome to getting old. Look, I refute this whole idea and I push back on getting old. But what I would say, Sean, is that these little like twinges and tweaks oftentimes are a consequence of you being ambitious and just like pushing things. Or sometimes the body just seems to get a little bit out of alignment when we're tired. So for example, I know for myself, I've noticed my recovery rate from running and getting DOMs is a lot worse when I'm not sleeping as well. Like literally today, after doing the 3 mornings of like super duper early, I had to come home and have like literally a 2-hour nap. and I have to prioritize it. So, dude, I just wanted to let you know that I think that it feels like sometimes the world's out to get you, right? It feels like it's like, oh my gosh, like why is this so difficult? But dude, don't be worried about giving yourself a little, what I'd say, a micro deload or a micro break. So what I mean by that is if you're feeling like you're just that little bit tired or you're a little bit sort of highly strung or you got some aches and pains, sometimes just literally 3 days off can make all of the difference. And I'm not saying do a 3-day like carpe diem, just eat the house down. I just mean getting some sleep if you can, backing off like the intensity of your training. That can really make a difference. Okay. What you're going through, I think is, or what the annoyance is, it's pretty normal, dude. But we want to be making sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance through our recovery. Okay. All right. Next up, now this is actually a question that I got from Sean last night, but again, a really good question, and I wanted to address it. The entire time I have been at the gym, I smash myself. I'm struggling and shaking towards the end, but I have never been sore the day or two after. Is that normal? I'm worried that I'm not doing enough. Great question. So the basic answer to this question, team, is that soreness is not a prerequisite for progress. And you must know this, okay? So many people abide by this no pain, no gain thing. It's just not true, okay? Yes, you have to be pushing and you need to be obeying the law of progressive overload. Yes. You need to be continuously moving on up. Yes. But you really, if you feel sore for the next 2 days, it's less likely that you're going to back it up again because you're feeling sore, right? You're feeling depleted. So for a lot of people, I actually think, and this is why, just for the record, this is why we program mostly full body style workouts or upper lower type workouts or push pull legs type workouts where you're dividing the load. You're not just doing a beat down on one body part. All right, today I'm training legs and that's it. The reason we kind of like that style is because usually the more you beat, the more volume that you give a specific muscle, the more sorer you're going to be. Okay. So it's not a prerequisite. You don't need to feel sore for training. The things that you should be thinking about, to clarify, Shen, is what do I think the quality of my workouts was? Am I getting stronger? Now, if you're getting stronger but you're not sore, perfect. Are you seemingly losing body fat? Are you feeling like your overall composition is changing? These are things that are more relevant than soreness. Okay? So really good question. Glad you asked it. Now, this question, how do you cope with sweet cravings? So this is a great question, and I actually did a post on this purposely to try to get what everyone else does. I'll tell you what I do, because I do get sweet cravings, and I think we spoke about this briefly on last night's call with the girls. I think everyone gets sweet cravings, and one of the reasons we get sweet cravings is sweet foods are higher in calories. And so from a survival perspective, if your body or brain rather is driving you to eat something sweet through the stimulus of taste, it's going to keep you alive, right? It's not going to help your weight management goals, but it's going to keep you alive. You're going to have plenty of calories. So craving for sweetness goes hand in hand with being a human. Okay? The question is, does your cravings for sweetness lead to like going ham into 3 buckets of ice cream a night? And that's where it becomes a challenge. One of the things that we talked about as a strategy last night on the girls' call was allowing yourself a daily portion of something sweet. So for example, we looked at a Tim Tam. A Tim Tam is 100 calories. So if you set up your day to be good, 1,600 calories, 1,700 calories, 1,800 calories, whatever it is for you as a lady, as an example, and you're consistent and you allow yourself room, perfect. right? What I can tell you is that being consistent at a set number of calories over a long time versus these like massive ebbs and so, that's going to be actually more beneficial for you. So how do I personally do it? Well, I drink a lot of these, firstly, because I deduce that they are hydrating and sweet. That's one thing. Now, when we talk about these, they're actually 0 calorie. And so I have a lot of things which are sweet but very low calorie. So protein bars. I eat 2 protein bars a day. I love protein bars. For me, they're 1-in-1 with taking a Mars bar. So I love them. Another option is ice blocks. Okay, now over here, I think people call them popsicles, but you can get frozen ice blocks that are like you give them to your kids. They're basically like a watered down juice that tastes really sweet, and they're 25 calories each. 25 calories. You can allow yourself 3 a day. I have a dessert nearly every single night. The dessert that I typically have is tofu desserts. You might have seen them. They're like really soft tofu. I have the banana or the almond flavor. I think you can get them in Australia, but they're just like a really soft, cold tofu. They are absolutely like a dessert tofu. It's more like a custard than a tofu, right? Absolutely delicious. So would it be beneficial if I actually just put together a PDF, which is all of the sweet coping mechanisms? I think that'd actually be pretty cool based on all of the answers that you guys got and what I can potentially pull as ideas. I think that'd be a really, really good thing. There are behavioral things there, and there are things like, okay, what are the best low-calorie options? I'll give you a hot tip. Monk sugar, okay? If you haven't tried monk sugar or stevia as an option, obviously sweetness is coming from sugar, right? And the sugar is what pulls in all the calories. So if you have a naturally occurring, ultra sweet option like monk sugar or stevia, these are both plant extracts, right? And you put this into a banana bread, as an example, there's just literally no need to make it with sugar. So once you get a little bit good at this and you start to practice, you can have the sweetness without the calories. Okay, let's keep moving. What's more important, calories or protein? I don't think we need to choose between the two. But if I was to try to answer the question, what I would say is this. If your predominant goal is to build muscle, then I would say protein's the most important. If your predominant goal is to lose weight, fat, then I would say calories is the most important. But the two are interlinked, and it should not be a choice between the two. Okay? Next question. What coffee is best to get at Starbucks when you're on a deficit? Oh, great question. And I should also point out, and this Starbucks or any other coffee cafe scenario, the difference between, so some people hate Americano style, like just plain black coffee, and that's going to be the lowest calorie option, not necessarily the best, but the lowest calorie. If you're someone like me who drinks coffee a lot, I usually have 1 milk coffee a day and then a bunch of instant coffees with milk a day. The milk component can add up. If I was having full cream milk, it'd probably be 200 calories for a 12 ounce, like a medium latte. If it was on full cream milk, 200 to 250, and then 45 mils of that every single time. I think it would probably add up to about 400 calories versus skim milk, you half it. It's basically 200 calories. I remember my dad saying, I'm not drinking skim milk. Look, you can hardly even notice the change. You notice the change go into black coffee, definitely, right? But if you're having skim milk versus full cream milk, you really don't know the difference after a week or so. So that would be my recommendation. If you have a lot of milk-based coffees, then make sure they're skim. Or something like almond milk. Any fast food hacks that you recommend? Yeah, I'm not even going to answer this question in detail because it will take years. I suggest that you go into your app and download the actual document in there, which basically has all of the fast food options that you can choose. That's really, really well broken down. Okay, is avocado healthy like olive oil? Yes, it is. it's a predominantly monounsaturated oil, which basically means it's a good option. Okay, it's a good option for reducing your overall cholesterol load. Okay, so it's generally seen as a very good option. It's linked to health. The challenge with it is, like all oils, good and kind of more rancidy, shitty oils, is that it's a lot of calories. Oil is almost pure fat, and pure fat is very high in calories, right? So it's not that it's healthy, but it's also very high in calories. So I would personally be very careful and making sure that you're tracking oil, adding to things like salads. If you're doing the oil dance, like, you're literally adding in 200 calories with like almost like a 50 meal amount. It's a lot of calories. So it's healthy, but it's not worth, in my opinion, it's not worth just putting in glugs of it. All right, can you please go over the supplement recommendations again? Yep, sure can. So at this stage, I recommend 3, which are creatine, a multivitamin, and whey protein isolate. Borderline, I'm still considering maybe omega-3, like fish oil, as an addition to that, simply because of the possible links there with not getting enough seafood in for most people and contributing to an overall better health in the way of blood fats, so less cholesterol, anti-dementia development in the brain, all of the things that goes with you making sure that you get enough omega-3. Now, if you eat a lot of fish, then it's probably just not that beneficial. I would like to go back to the evidence and kind of dig this up. Hello, Ash. Good morning, love. So what would I personally just recommend at this stage? I think every single person here should be taking, actually, now that I think about that, that's probably different to the recommendations that I've made in the past. I've said if you're not lifting weights, you should take creatine. But now there's a lot of science coming out that creatine's benefit goes beyond just lifting weights, okay? As in, like, some really important elements of brain function. So I would recommend, for the pricing of creatine, I would recommend creatine monohydrate, the cheapest form. I would recommend whey protein isolate, which I consider more of a food than a supplement, and multivitamin as a backup in case you're possibly deficient in any one other vitamin or mineral, okay? Now, just with the guys taking creatine, and if you listen to this on later, it might actually help. Some suggestions that maybe the generic 5 grams or 1 teaspoon might not be enough for a bigger human, okay? So, I mean, if you're, a young lady and you're kind of in the vicinity of, 60 to 80 kilos, then maybe that's, 5 grams is enough. Potentially up to 10 or 15 grams might be more beneficial for someone with a little bit more muscle mass, just to try to get them to complete saturation of creatine. And so just for anyone that's watching, creatine is a naturally, your body makes creatine. You also eat it through meats, and what it does is help a fuel source, the base fuel source that all foods turn into. It's called ATP. It recharges ATP. I'm not going to go into the details unless you guys want me to in detail, but safe to say, I would recommend taking it. Okay, now you will know if you're taking too much, if you're getting any kind of stomach upsets or something like that. But if you need more clarification on that, I would just go with creatine monohydrate and a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half in water, or you can stick it in a shake or whatever. You can stick it in your breakfast. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and you don't need to take it or base it around your training schedule at all. All right, next question. Does sleep play as big as a role of diet and when it comes to health and fitness? 1,000,000%. I think that this is the thing that, through bad lifestyle choices or being a parent or being a Netflix addict or whatever it is, this is the thing that most people could probably work on the most out of everything. And you might be like, well, nah, my eating's shit. That's my main thing. And it might be, But perhaps one of the reasons that you're eating shit is because you're constantly and chronically tired. So you feel low energy. So your body's sending out signals that you're tired, you need to eat food. Give me some more sugar to keep me awake and get me through the day. If you're able to sleep, you rectify that. In fact, sleep has been shown to get your hormones more back in the ratio that they should be. Less of the inflammatory, stress-based hormones, right? And therefore less cravings, right? So I do absolutely think, well, actually, Nick, going on from what Chris said, I would like to do either a podcast or a masterclass on this, because I think this is a very, very good topic. You know, like, and it's hard because I will say this is, if you are an ambitious person and you want to constantly be kind of pushing the limit, one of the most disposable things you can do is get rid of a few hours of sleep and work instead. Hands up, do I do that? Yes, absolutely. So I do think that it's a challenge. The way that I would really love people to understand sleep is like a credit card, okay? And I was paying off debt this morning, right? 3 nights up in a row at like 2:30 in the morning, and then just working all day. Like, it just hit me today, and I needed to just pay off some debt, right? Sleep debt is exactly the same. You just can't delete sleep debt. When you accumulate sleep debt over and over and over and over, it builds up, and then you have a bill to pay. And if you don't pay the bill, things start to actually collapse, right? And so it's really important that we understand that sleep debt has to be paid off. You can't just, people that say, oh, I'll work these 12-hour shifts. And yeah, I'm not disagreeing you're not working the 12-hour shifts, but you're probably getting to the weekend and like sleeping. And if you're not, you're probably taking drugs to not sleep. Like, the body will demand that you pay back that debt, the same as the bank will demand that you pay back the credit card debt. All right, a few more questions and we're good. Should I be going to full extension on movements like squats and bench press? So short answer is no, I don't believe so for the most part. What a better way to put it is, should I be locking out? Now, I did a short video on this through the week. The reason that we don't want to lock out is because when we lock out at the top, when we get our elbows into a straight line, like complete extension and like rigidly lock them out, or our knees, the same thing, that is putting you at risk of hyperextending that joint and creating an issue. Okay, so that's the downside. The other part to it is, when you're locking out, what you're actually doing is taking the tension off the muscle. So if I was to give you a bench press demonstration here, you're doing your reps and I lock out. Why are you locking out? Because you want to take a rest, because it's hard, right? Or when you're squatting, you lock out at the top to try to take the tension off your quads or your butt, right? So what we want to do is instead really try to keep that tension on those areas, because at the end of the day, one of the catalysts of muscle growth is time under tension. So there's an injury risk and there's an efficiency decrease when you lock out. Hopefully that's simple enough to understand, guys. Okay, so last question. It's a bit opaque, the question, but how can I increase my press movements? I'm going to assume that this means increase my strength in press movements, which is a good question, actually. So how do you improve your squat? That's a press movement. How do you improve your bench press? We're talking about the difference between press and like push and pull movements, okay? How do you increase any movement that's not relative to just press or push or pull or whatever you want to call them? The real way you need to do it is you need to be reducing and once you start to kind of get the hang of this, you can work out how to do it. But you need to reduce the number of reps that you're doing and increase the amount of weight. This is to train the adaptation of strength. People think that when they go into the gym, everything's just training everything and it's all the same. It's not the truth. Depending on how you train will target a specific adaptation. So as an example, if you're doing Nikko style training, Nikko Koshia style training, you're generally doing lower rep count, higher movement to feed strength. Okay? If you're wanting the more kind of Nick Friend style zone, where you want to develop hypertrophy and body composition, but you still do want to be strong, you're going to have this kind of mid-range 8 to 12 rep basis of pushing as hard as you can, only leaving maybe 1 or 2 reps in the tank at the end of each set. And then also doing some very heavy days, phasing in some very heavy days as well. Let's say that you just wanted to be greater endurance, go for longer. Well, then you would decrease the actual number of repetitions down per set, and you would do 20 or 30 set repetitions, which would train a little bit of muscle size, but mostly muscular endurance. Such is the training that one would do with F45 or Orange Theory and something to that extent. So hopefully that answers the question. If you're looking to increase your strength in pressing movements, what you're going to need to do is start training at higher weights and lower rep ranges. So guys, Q&A done for today. Hopefully that is helpful. If there's any other questions, feel free to shoot them through. Guys, have a beautiful start to your weekend, because weekends start on a Friday everywhere around the world. To my friends over in the UK and US and Canada, I hope you guys are well too. Love you, appreciate you. And I just want to say, guys, so far this week, I think we've been on group coaching calls with over 50, close to 50 people, I would say now, between the UK women, the UK men, the Aussie women and the Aussie men. And it's been great. And it's really helped us as coaches to understand a bit more about the struggles and to connect. If you're not getting on the coaching calls, you should be, because that's where the transition happens. We're doing these every week, and we will continue to do these every week. And we've got some really cool things in the works of making things even better. So that's it. We'll love you and leave you there, guys. Have a beautiful afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is for you. Take care.